We've been concerned at the ACLJ, American Center for Law and Justice, of the lack of response by the federal government as it relates to the tragedy in your state in East Palestine. I want to get your assessment on whether the federal government response here is adequate, or do you see it improving? What's your sense?
Well, first and foremost, no, the federal response is not adequate, or, if it is, it's only recently adequate. I spoke with one of our fire chiefs, and the state of Ohio has a hazmat response team that comes out to big disasters like this. And he was on the scene, shortly after the train derailed, and explained to me how they contain the liquid. So if it stayed in the tanker cars, it could have exploded and vaporized and caused a much bigger blast radius, a much more consequential, air quality problem for a wider area. And if it stayed as liquid and you just emptied the train car and let it run out, it would go deeper into the ground, have more groundwater contamination risk, and potentially spread further. So the least bad option is they put, a way to contain that liquid and then ignited it, and it, of course, burst into flames in a lot of cases, depending on the kind of liquid. But, no good options. And then from there, the response was not good, whether that was, the way that you care for the people and get them to a place where not just they are safe, but they feel safe. And the reality is, whether it's the Ohio EPA or the federal EPA, early on, they were saying, yeah, things are safe. You can go back home. You can drink the water and everything else. What we know now is people are coming into the emergency room with rashes. They're having problems. You've seen people go on the scene and disturb the water and look at the chemical trace on the surface. You're like, well, there's issues going on here people aren't wanting to confront and acknowledge, and we need all the resources our country has to bring to bear here. It's hundreds of yards from the Pennsylvania border. The water is affecting Ohio, Pennsylvania, potentially West Virginia, Kentucky as well. And, people are concerned about it. And I think, finally the attention is on it that it should be. But I'm not sure all the resources are still there, because people that want to be out of that community into a place they feel safe don't have a lot of options right now.
Last question about this one, Congressman, and that is, why do you think that federal government, FEMA especially, but also the Department of Transportation was so hesitant to, or have been so hesitant to engage? There is a need in your state for help right now.
Yeah, there is. And frankly, our state needs to communicate that need with one voice. That finally is happening. And then B, the federal response needs to be there for it. I mean, if we have a federal EPA, then if this doesn't qualify for why it would, with a situation that involves Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, at a minimum, then why do we have a federal EPA? And the reality is, the same day that our governor was saying it's safe for people to come back on scene, the director of the EPA was saying, well, we'll send our people out when it's safe to send them out. You're the EPA. You should be the first people on the scene.
I was hosting Sean Hannity's broadcast. We had a former special agent in charge of the EPA, and he said exactly what you did. Congressman Davidson, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Thanks for your hard work on all these issues.